Hello, 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 everyone. Hold on, let me fix this so that it's more in the center. Hello, you guys. It's good to be here with everybody. Sorry about that. Let me put my hair up. It's bothering me. Sorry about that time frame mix up. I think we had 11, but I meant noon. I meant noon o'clock. It's good to be here. Happy Wednesday if you're watching this live. Hello, Chicagoland. All right, we are doing Untangled. We're on episode 146. 146. I got a good episode for you guys today. I got a real good episode. Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure you guys can hear me and that all is well on my end over here. Hi, El Salvador. Yes. Okay. Yay. I hope you guys are ready for this episode. I'm really excited to share it. If you're new to Untangled, this is a series that I've been doing for a couple of years now, and it's all about the evolution in human consciousness, our evolution in human consciousness. The only reason why you came here on the planet is to go through this evolutionary shift. And I break it down and talk about the daily, weekly, monthly things that you may be experiencing, um, using different lenses to see your evolutionary shift, remembering what it's all about. It's a huge piece is remembering what you're doing here, um, and remembering how to play the human character role while you simultaneously begin to wake up out of it all. Right. And so it's very, very difficult. It's very challenging what we're doing. I think we forget sometimes what we're actually doing here on the planet. Evolution in a physical vessel is not easy. As a consciousness, as an aspect of God, as a light. It's like, "What? Come again? What are we doing?" Like, there are times where I just am, I'm in awe of what we do here. I'm in awe of the intricacies of it, the details of it, the complication of it, the humility of it, all of it. And it goes by so fast. It goes by in a blink of an eye. And so before you know it, life is over and you're like, "Damn, how'd I do? How much did I remember? Um, what percentage was I becoming more and more godlike?" Which is who you are. You're a divine aspect of God. And so you're playing a human role in a dualistic and polarized planetary body, dimensional field that you can't get out of. As much as you want to try to get out of this dimensional field, you can't. That's part of it. So you're living in duality and polarity. You're living in right, wrong, good, bad, yes, no, while you're slowly beginning to crawl your way back to the essence that you are within you, which is an aspect of God, and beginning to plug yourself back into that beautiful, living, breathing nectar of life, which is God's energy, God's force. So that's what you're doing. That's what we talk about every week. And sometimes it looks like frustration over the mind control and manipulation that's happening on the planet. And sometimes it's talking about activating the God particle within us. Sometimes it's talking about Jesus. Sometimes it's talking about the demonic parasites that come out of my body, which I had another one come out 2 weeks ago. I don't know if I told you guys. It was gnarly. These things grow and live inside of us. It is no joke. We all should be fasting in some capacity. I'll share a little bit about that. Oh, I'll share that today. Another demonic attack I had. But yeah, we love to just sit here and I just share my life, and hope that somehow it helps you navigate your own evolution. All right, so today, I'm going to talk a little bit about more about my intimate walk with Jesus right now. He has been like just nonstop wanting me to share more and more about him and I and us together. He really, if he was here right now, he would be taking the microphone. Um, and so because I'm in charge, and I make the decisions, he's frustrated because he really wants to start becoming more involved in my teachings and things like that. And so I'm going to share a little bit more about how I experience Jesus and how we do our day-to-day life together, because that's what's happening. Second thing I want to talk about today is I'm going to go a little bit into the demonic attack that I had this week and what it did to my body. And then I'm going to talk about autonomy. And then I'm going to read a little bit of what Jesus wrote to you guys. Jesus wrote a little letter to all of you. Um, and so that's what we're going to do in the next hour while we hang out together. So let's go. I want to share a little bit. Let's start with my intimate walk with Jesus. Um, so I am going to do a longer video going into depth about how I kind of went from speaking more about galactic energies and all of that stuff to walking with Jesus and talking about Jesus and God. But for now, what I will share, and a lot of you guys already know this, but I think it's, you know, I think it's important to talk about, because I think it's unique what I'm experiencing and what I'm going through and what I'm doing. And I think it will give you guys a different perspective on Jesus and who he is outside of what we've been programmed to believe and programmed to think about him. Um, so the last couple of months, so I've been sitting with Jesus and working with Jesus for about a year and a half, just getting familiar with him, connecting with him, bringing him into my life without an expectation other than just wanting to learn from him. And because I've been channeling for a very long time, it's easy for me to hear him. It's easy for me to connect with him. It's easy for me to feel him. I've never had an issue with that or a problem with that. Um, and so a couple months ago is when he came in and said, it's time for us to train together. You're going to write a book. Not you. We're going to write a book, right? We all know this. I told you guys, I talked to you guys about this. And so that was a couple of months ago. And so what life has been like for me the last 2 months, August to September, last 3 months, it's been 3 months. What life has been like for me, um, the last 3 months is, um, insane in the best way possible. My whole life has kind of dramatically shifted. So from the moment he said, "You're going into training," and I said, "Yes, I'm in 100%." He began to sit and be with me every single day. So every single day, all day long, Jesus was right there with me. I heard him, I felt him. Um, it was like you had somebody literally walking with you throughout the day. Thank you, Paula, you little love bug, for that. Um, and I began listening. I began following his directions. Very first thing he ever said to me as we began to work together was, "You have to be obedient to what I'm going to ask you. If you do not do what I ask you, this is not going to work." And I'm fine with that. I don't need to be in control, and I understand more and more as I work with Jesus that being in control is going to hinder your ability to connect and be, um, in alignment with God. And so I began to do everything he said. Um, and I began listening to him. I began writing with him. He started telling me things that I would be doing in the next couple of months. He said I would be like secluding myself, that I would not be hanging out with most of my friends. At this point, I hang out with no one. I see my mom and my brother. And when I go to the yoga studio to do hot Pilates or something, I see friends at the studio. But that's it. I go out and I come back. I spend all my waking hours with Jesus. That's it. I don't talk on the phone with friends. I don't text with friends. Um, I've literally, unless it's like work related, other than that, there's very little interaction I'm having right now on purpose. Um, the other thing is he has started um, requesting that I do fasting. You guys know that I did that 21-day fast, but he has me fasting all the time. Twice a week I fast, water fast and broth fast. Once a month I do a 4 to 5 day fast. And if there's fasting that he requires and he wants in between, I'll do it. The reason fasting is so important is because it not only does it clean out your body and gets rid of demonic energies and parasitic energies, but it brings you closer to God. It tests your faith. Fasting tests your faith. Fasting tests your commitment to God. It's not about getting healthy for me. Jesus is not like, "Hey, go fast to get healthy." Jesus is like, "Fast so that you can have a deeper sense of faith in me." He started having me sleep in my office. So at first I started to sleep on the floor and I realized this isn't gonna work. This is very uncomfortable. And so I bought mattress pad things and I've been sleeping on my office 4 to 5 in my office 4 to 5 nights a week, and then I'll go into my bed 1 to 2 nights a week. Why is he having me sleep in my office? Because he works on me at night in my office. We've created an energetic portal of some sort in my office because we're literally together from 4 to 5 a.m. until 7 p.m. in my office for the most part, working, meditating, talking, journaling, writing on my walls on the paper. And so he has me laying there to do work on me and I actually don't know what he's doing in the middle of the night with me. But that's what I've been doing. Um, he has stopped me from doing specific a yoga that I used to love. He has me stopping. I'm not doing a specific yoga anymore. Um, what else has he been doing? Asking me to do. Um, Oh, okay. So he has me doing 1 hour sits with him where I sit for at least for 1 hour minimum every day. Sometimes it's 2 hours a day. It kind of depends on what we're doing. So I'll sit. Thank you, Benson, so much for that super chat. So I'll sit for I'll set my alarm. I'll just sit for an hour and let him do whatever he's gonna do. Sometimes it's like 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night. He has been requiring me to do the God particle activation. So he'll activate the God particle at least once a day for 30 minutes, sometimes twice a day. And then we're writing the book together. And every day, all day long, he's the only one I'm hanging out with. He's the only one I'm hearing and talking about. And the other night he says to me, I'm sharing this because in full transparency and vulnerability, it is extremely difficult for me to begin to share my journey, my teachings that Jesus wants me to share, um, having the confidence in just speaking about him more and more, letting him speak more and more, and being really transparent, authentic, and vulnerable about what this is that he and I are doing. It's very challenging. And I've been hemming and hawing. I've been going back and forth. I've been trying to figure out other things to say, other things to teach. Um, And this is the only thing that's in my life right now. So if you guys have been following me for years, you know that there's always different things happening. I'm going up and down on a roller coaster ride. One week I'm emotionally, yeah, the next week I'm just like, "Oh my god," right? So I always had so much to talk about and share and teach. And I'm literally my life has become so condensed that it's just Jesus and I that it's the only thing I have to share. It's only and it's a lot. There is so much about the spiritual evolution and the spiritual battle that we're in that Jesus wants to share. There's so much of Jesus that wants to share himself with us. And so it's been very difficult. I'm not gonna lie. And Oh, the other thing okay, so every week there's, like, new sort of things that he wants me to do, and I follow everything. One of the things he's been requiring me to do the last month is, if you don't run a business on social media, this won't mean anything to you, but if you run a business and you're the one running your social media account, you post videos, you respond to messages, you're running a business, right? So social media to me is not something fun to do, like, if I didn't run my business on social media, I would not have a social media account, I wouldn't. Um, but I run my business on social media, and so I have to be on it to run the business. Totally okay. I love social media in that regard. I think it's incredible. I think it's awesome. But it is extremely detrimental to your peace of mind. And if I'm trying to become more and more confident in following what Jesus wants of me, which is to keep speaking about everything I have written on this wall to all of you, sharing and teaching about this human evolution and the spiritual battle from the lens of what Jesus, how Jesus sees it and why he's on the planet, I can't look at things on social media. And so he's asked me, he says, you need to stop, you need to post your videos and then do not look at comments. Do not look at likes. Do not look at how many people have watched it. And listen, this is what everybody does. You could be the most famous person on Instagram or not famous at all. Everybody is addicted to these types of behaviors. That's why it's so detrimental. It's so addictive. People start believing that they are how they are seen on social media. So they base their worth on likes, followers, how many views, and as embarrassing as that is to speak about, the majority of people feel that way on social media. Because it's human nature. And so it really messes with you. And it creates this real distorted illusion. Um, and it controls you. So a lot of people will try to manipulate themselves into how social media will perceive you, right? So if you do it like this, you'll get more followers. If you do this, you'll go viral. If you do this, you want to do this so that people hear you more. You want to make the video look like this so that it's all bullshit. It's all manipulated mind control um tactics. It's what it is. It's keeping us disempowered and not autonomous, right? Not empowered and sovereign. It just isn't. So he says, post and get off, which I do now. Do not look, I have no idea the views that my videos are getting anymore. I don't look at any of the comments. Rarely do I look at any comments now on any platform. It's not because I don't want to engage with people. It's because he's asking me to, because it's keeping me freaking sane. It's keeping me sane. I don't watch anything that anybody asks me to watch. If anybody forwards me something, I watch nothing. Jesus is like, "Do not watch anything other than, like, the fun, entertaining things that you like to watch on YouTube." Um, and so that's another thing that I've been doing, and it's been really helping me be able to figure out who I am. Figure out who I want to be on this planet as I move through this evolutionary shift in human consciousness. And I think it requires deep humility for us to actually admit to the fact that it's becoming more and more difficult for us to figure out who we are. It's becoming more and more difficult for us to figure out what our authentic, vulnerable truth is. What do we want? How do you want to show up? How do you want to be on this planet? How do you want to view things? How do you wanna respond to your family? And if you think about it, we're constantly asking other people that we think are professionals or that have the answer. We're handing over our autonomy to other people saying, "What should I do? Who am I? How should I see my marriage? How should I?" Now, that's one thing to go and ask family members and friends and people you trust and to try to kind of like peel it back and figure it out. But we've gone overboard in terms of who we are and how we are choosing to navigate this planetary shift. It's gotten crazy, and we need to kind of like reel it back in. And that's what Jesus is showing me every single day. That's why he has me literally like, in a freaking office. Thank God I have the ability to do that, right? And, like, no distraction. The power of distraction right now is it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, the distraction. And what does the distraction do? It pulls you away from who you are. It's what it's doing. And why is this important to understand? Because the shift that we're in right now, one of the ways that we're going to start recognizing it more and more is this split between autonomy and groupthink. Okay. Autonomy is that you are a self oiled machine. You're on your own. You have your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your own opinions. You feel strong. You feel confident. You feel sovereign. You're aligned with your direct line of connection and communication with God. You're just your own entity. What's groupthink? The other road that we're walking down. It's where you are doing what everyone else is doing. You're following what everybody else is telling you to do. Do it like this because you'll make more money. Do it like this and you'll find a partner. Do it like this and you'll be healthier. Do it like this and you'll get rid of your parasites. Like, do all these things. And everybody's telling everybody what to do. And then we have these like hive like group thinks all over in every different type of setting. That's the human condition. And we are in an evolutionary shift in consciousness. I want you to remember this, an evolutionary shift in consciousness. What does that mean? It means that we will eventually have to move out of old ways and into new ways. So what does that mean? It means however we've been, we're going to have to stop being. Humanity is not, it's driving me nuts. If you want to get me annoyed, it's like, why are we continuing to do and be in the same freaking ways through the lens of I'm awakening, I'm evolving? If you're still doing, if you are still living in the exact same ways, the evolutionary shift wants to do different things with you. We should be changing every week and every month. We should be doing different we should be watching ourselves evolve. We should be watching ourselves crawling out of, peeling ourselves out of deep conditioning. We should stop following what everybody is saying. We should become and this takes discipline and obedience. It takes so much discipline to do it differently, to break out of the systems, a huge amount of obedience and discipline. It's not easy, which is why we don't, which is why most of us is still in that groupthink type of vibe. We're stuck on our phones 24/7, scrolling, feeling bad about ourselves, like we need to do this, we need to do this. I guess I should be doing this. Maybe I should be doing this. I don't know. Maybe I need to take that supplement, or it's too much. It's absolutely, thank you, Catherine, so much for that. It's too much. Where's the evolutionary shift in consciousness that you came down here to be a part of? Where is that? It happens when you pull yourself, and that's why fasting is so important. Fasting is the most important thing that we could be doing in our evolutionary shift right now. Fast from social media, see how addicted you are. Fast from sugar, see how much it drains your energy. Fast from sodas, fast from meat. Fast, and you'll see how programmed and controlled you are. We need to start recognizing that this evolutionary shift in consciousness is going to require us to do things differently, and that's not going to be easy, and it's going to sitting back and just meditating yourself into some like really beautiful states, it's not going to do it, right? We're going to have to work at this as well. It's very human. And so one of the things that I've been noticing as I've been walking with Jesus every single day for hours on end, he is always telling me he's always saying, here's what you're doing this week. And it's like, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this, do that. I mean, there's like, it's a regimen, it's a training. It's not like, "Oh, I'm just gonna sit and just move into, like, a high vibe with Jesus, and he's just gonna do everything for me, and it's gonna be so awesome. I'm just gonna be loving and kind." It's like, "No, girl, you're in the evolutionary shift. You're in the spiritual battle. You better get to work." Well, what does that mean? "Well, I need you to stop doing this," and it's like, "Whoa, wait a second, what? Yep, you want it? Let's go. How badly do you want this, Lorie? I want it really bad. Okay, then, let's go." We have been programmed and we have been dripped this illusion that the evolutionary shift is going to be easy, that moving into new ways of being and heaven on earth is gonna be easy. Now, on one level, it is very easy. When you start working with God and Jesus, it becomes easy, but it's also difficult. It's both. So, from my experience, it's like the human has been conditioned to we want things quick. We want things to be easy, fast. We want a resolution quickly, right? Like if you tell me that if I take this class, you're going to do dot dot dot, I want that. Why am I not receiving that? Why is this not happening to me? That's the program, that's the illusion, that's the way these systems and energies have kept us in control. They have been dictating that to you. So you go out into the world and you're constantly trying to find what it is that's going to relieve the suffering, which is truly, innately the disconnection from God. Every human's suffering is simply the disconnection with God. So think about this for a second. Look around at the planet. The reconnection to God happens inside. It happens with intention, you deciding to connect back into God. It requires getting a little bit quiet, figuring out what that means and how to do that. It requires you to do it and nobody else. So what's happening on the planet? Quite the opposite. The distractions are getting louder. It's becoming easier and easier to follow distraction. That's why technology is so brilliantly designed to pull us out of autonomy. Because technology is going to say, look how fast, look how easy, look how great this is. It's going to make your life so much easier. You're going to be able to figure out all the answers on ChatGPT, right? You're going to be able to do everything. It's these sentient beings that you're going to be connecting to. It's going to be so beautiful. I promise you, it's going to be all this great stuff. If it's not God, it's the wrong timeline, period. If it is not raw, organic, energetic connection with God, it's the wrong timeline, period. You want to know why Jesus is coming down onto the planet in such a loud way right now? He's trying to combat technology. He's literally trying to scream to humanity. And if you're going to say, well, why Jesus? Because that was his role. That's the role he plays. It's like, why is, who's one of the greatest singers on the planet, right? Why are they one of the greatest singers? Because that was what they chose to do on this planet. Why Jesus? That's his intention and his role when he incarnated as God in form. And so he's coming down in a vengeance right now, trying to use every human body he possibly can. By the way, he told me this in August. He says, I am trying to connect and communicate with millions of people all over the planet. And I'm using them in different sections of the world, in different sects, in different systems, all these different systems, religious systems, non-religious systems, evil, corrupt systems, peaceful systems, so that he can try to infiltrate, in a sense, the takeover that's been happening on this planet for thousands of years. And the technology is what is going to be the mark of the beast. That is what is going to take humanity down a path that ain't going to be good. And so, how do you counter that? What's the opposite of technology? God. Robot? God. Chat GPT? God. My own connection to God or inorganic? What's going to tell me what God says? What's going to tell me how to connect to God? What's going to tell me the easy, fast ways to get more money and get more success and get more beautiful and get more this? No, no, no. And so, how do we boil this all back down to the initial conversation, which is like, How do we find our autonomy? Are living in a world right now that is trying to make you so confused that you don't find autonomy, i.e., you don't find God. MJ, thank you, love, love. So good to see you here. That's what's happening. Let's keep distracting them. Let's keep pointing out all the things out there that are going to make them happy. Let's keep letting them make millions of dollars. If they keep looking out and realizing, "Oh my god, there's so much money to be made," they're not gonna connect to God, because you wanna know why? If you start connecting straight to God, that's not gonna matter anymore. You'll make money, but that's not gonna be at this forefront. The whole planet's gonna change when we stop being controlled by these systems and by these energies and by these small families that have been running the planet for 7,000 years. 12 little families nestled somewhere that you'll never see. You'll never see their faces, you'll never see their names, and they're controlling this entire planet. Why? Because they feed off of the energy of control. And they build it and they build it and they build it, and it is the opposite of God energy. And so their whole focus, this whole spiritual battle you're in, the reason you incarnated right now to be here in 2025, at whatever age you're in, is to be able to courageously say, stop, in the name of mother freaking love, stop, like the Pointer Sisters. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not following what you are freaking feeding me. I'm not. Stop telling me what to think. Stop telling me what to feel. Stop telling me what to do. Stop telling me what works. Stop telling me what doesn't work. Stop telling me all of it. Stop. And everything they're saying and everything that everybody else is saying, because they're all being traumatized and like taken over by these energies, it's all about the external world. It's all about the external world. I'm going to share a story with you guys. I I Jesus didn't. I follow everything that Jesus says now, right? And I'm always checking in, but I am the one that makes the decisions. And there's one of the hardest things sitting with Jesus every day, all day long, is trying to decipher between what's mine and what's his. What I'm doing because I want to do it and what I'm doing because it's what he's asking. It's a very, very, very difficult thing. Um, but I'm getting better and better and better at it. So I wanted to go away to a cabin. Um, because I had the belief that if I was in the cabin, I would be more secluded, I would write more. I'm just going to get so much work done. It was not guided by Jesus. So I'm trying to do everything guided by Jesus now. And it wasn't guided by Jesus, but I did it anyway. And I wasn't even aware that I wasn't really listening to him. I just was like, this is a great idea. We're going to go. And he's like, okay, like let free will. Let's, okay. And so I get to the cabin, and the net following morning when I wake up, something's off. Something is very off. Houston, something is off. Energetically, something's off here. And I'm like, oh, I know Jesus is with me. I can feel him, but there's different degrees of energy that I feel with Jesus throughout the day. So in the mornings, like we sit for hours in the morning. We'll sit from 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. sometimes, just sitting, talking, writing. My candles are lit, like doing activations. In the evening time, he's in my bedroom, or on the he's ever right, but there's different frequencies of how I feel him. When I was at the cabin and I woke up the first morning, I was like, "Ooh, Jesus feels farther away." Now I know he's right there, but when I feel that Jesus is a little bit farther away, I know there's something else coming in. So there's a distortion, there's distraction, there's energies that are distorting. And um my body's off. It's off. It's just something's not right, right? So I'm trying to like scan the system. Like, is it this? Is it this? Is it the cabin? No. Is it that I did this earlier? No. Is it I couldn't grab it. I couldn't figure out where energetically kind of I went wrong in a way. Um And so I do whatever I do that day, and then the following day, I did something, I went and wrote, and then I don't know what I did. Sunday Sunday was a w Sunday, things were not good. So, Sunday, you guys know that I did that 21-day water fast. It wasn't a full water fast the whole time, but I did a water fast, a broth fast, and I cleared out that real deep demonic, parasitic energy out of my body. A lot of stuff that was connected to my body image, insecurity, unworthiness, um, abuse in my body, all kinds of stuff, right? It cleared it out. And my body has been a clear vessel, just feeling incredible. Sunday, I'm like, "Ooh, something's not right in my body." I felt heavy, I felt tight, I felt bloated. Something felt wrong. And as the day went on, I started to notice I could feel that there were demonic energies infiltrating my mind. Now I'm gonna explain what this feels like for me, okay? It felt like something that hadn't been inside my mind for a while, all of a sudden started to try to open up the door and come back in. It was like familiar friends that had taunted me my whole life were coming back, and they were energetic. It was 100% energetic. Felt like flies. And by the way, there were probably 6 or 7 flies in that cabin when I hadn't opened windows, doors, that were flying around all day that day in the cabin and the day before. And I thought that was very weird. Anywho, towards as the day kept going on and I'm at the cabin doing my work, I could feel these energies infiltrating. I could feel them making me question myself, making me doubt Jesus. They were making me doubt that I was better. They were making me doubt that my body was healthy. They were making me want to, like, eat all kinds of food. Like, it was just this insane takeover. And it was not normal, and it was 10 times louder than anything that would normally be in my life 3 months ago. 10 times louder. It was trying to come in at such a vengeance, and I knew I was fighting it, okay? I could tell that I was fighting this. And listen, everybody gets to have their own experiences. They get to label it however they want to label it. This is how I'm labeling it. This is the experience. So I felt like I was having to fight off these energies, and I felt like these energies were pounding on the door in my mind. They were pounding on the window in my head, and I was trying with all my might to keep the door shut. That's what it felt like, and I was scared. I know this sounds weird, but I was freaking scared. Not afraid because they were scary. I was afraid that they were gonna come back in. Now, there's nothing wrong with these thoughts if they were just thoughts. There is 100% something wrong with demonic energies coming back into infiltrating my mind. That I'm not okay with. I don't care what sort of spiritual realm you live in. Like, we have demonic infiltrated thoughts and that we think are normal. And that is why humanity is in a constant loop of healing and fixing and suffering, because they don't realize that what they think is just a thought is actually demonic energies. Okay. So, no, this was not shadow work. No, this was not just limiting beliefs. This was demonic energies trying to get back into my mind. And I was like, abso-freaking-lutely not. No, you will not. No, you will not. Get the freak out. No. And I fought. Like, literally, that's what I was saying. I was energetically fighting these things out of my head. Best way to describe it. And I could feel, as crazy as this is, I could feel like I was losing the battle in a way. And I'm like, "Jesus, where are you? Like, what the freak is going on? I can't do this. I can't do this." And it almost felt like I was gonna be giving in to these energies, okay? And all of a sudden, I know now what happened, but all of a sudden, within a less than a second, I immediately felt that they were gone, just like that. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. They were just gone. And I was like, "This is so weird." I knew I would be okay, but my body felt awful. My body felt tight, bloated, heavy. I didn't eat anything. It was literally like my stomach looked like I was pregnant. I was I it was my belly was hard. Um, I swear I should have taken a photo to show you guys. Like, it looked like I was pregnant with a baby that was 6 months in my belly. Um, Something was happening in my system. Something was being processed, moved. I don't know what was going on, but it was gnarly. And so this was around 6 or 7 p.m. at night, right? Instantaneously, they're gone. Again, I didn't do any mantra, positive thinking. I didn't sit in meditation. I didn't ask God to come in, which is what I should have done. I didn't do any of that. I just freaking fought energetically in my mind. And I go and lay down in bed. I'm literally, you guys, exhausted. And I'm shocked by what just happened. I'm laying there and Jesus is sitting next to me. And I'm like, Jesus, what the freak just happened? He goes, you made it. You did it. You made it. I'm like, "What? I made what?" And he goes, "It that you." I don't wanna say he said it was like an initiation, but he said, like, it's almost like a test you passed, right? Like, you were able to not fall prey to those demonic energies. You did it. Um, and he said, "You can go home tomorrow." And this was Sunday, right? Sunday night. He goes, "You can go home now." And I'm like, "What? Was this all just for me to have some sort of gnarly demonic test?" Um, and I didn't get a clear yes or no. It didn't really matter, but it was like, you're done. You can go home now." And I literally, you guys, laid in that bed for at least 30 minutes staring at the wall because I couldn't believe, like, I felt like I had just gone through battle. It came out of nowhere. Middle of the day, and then it lasted for like 3 or 4 hours, and then within a second, a blink of an eye, it was gone, and I'm left there like, "What did I just fight against in battle?" It reminded me, and Jesus said this to me. He said, "This is what it will." He's like, "What I experienced, Lori, is way beyond what you just experienced." But he basically said, "This is what it's like when you're, um, battling the demons, when you're battling Satan." So he said, "When I was in the desert, Um, and Satan tested me." He's like, "It's not some little Satan little animal that comes out and says, "Doot, doot, 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 doot," and taunts me." He said, "It's the mind. It's the energies, the demonic energies in your mind that are gonna try to convince you that if you do dot, 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 you're gonna feel better. If you do dot, 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 you'll be happier. If you do dot, 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 you'll have all this money. You'll have all this success. You'll look so beautiful. You'll have a beautiful body. You'll have." It's all the demonic energies infiltrate your mind and convince you to do all these things, to have all these things, and because it pulls you from the truest aligned connection with God, which is simplistic, which is just simply being with the light of creator and letting that fill you up. And I said, "Okay, great." Anyway, I laid there for a while, stared at the ceiling, stared at the wall. I couldn't believe what happened. I wake up in the morning, I sit with Jesus. It's like 6 in the morning, and I'm sitting there with him, and my candles are lit. And he says to me, he says, I need you to understand what happened yesterday. So I need you to journal." And so I sat and I started journaling. And um, when I um, so when I started journaling, I hold on, I'm putting this user in timeout. Um, Okay. So when I started journaling, I heard Jesus say, the second that you heard those demonic energies leave, that was when God's light came in. That's when God's light came in. And he's like, you didn't call God's light in. You didn't ask for God to come in. Maybe next time you will do that. But the second that you felt them go is when God's light came into your body. And a lot of us, I think, have a hard time with that concept. Like, well, if I'm God, why wouldn't God, you know, and I think this is an important thing to think about for a second. If we're God and there's all this like nasty thoughts that we have all this trauma in their body, we have all this kind of darker, heavier energy. Um, if we're God and God's light is running through us, God's light's going to start to move all of that through. God's light within us has been dormant. When it starts awakening, it's going to start pushing all of this through naturally, not because you're healing it, but because God's light is turning on inside of you and it's pushing all of it through. That's how powerful God's light is. God's light is powerful than anything on this planet. Anything, anything. God's light is 2,000 billion% more potent than anything that you can think, feel, behave, do, whatever. It doesn't matter. So if we actually were aspects of God living in that light, none of what we're experiencing right now on the planet would be happening. We wouldn't be in suffering or struggle. We wouldn't be in lack. We wouldn't be in fear. We wouldn't be in jealousy. All these things that we feel right now is because the light of our God essence has been dormant. I mean, this is just simply physics. This isn't anything other than how energy works. And so, one of the reasons why Jesus is so adamant about pulling in God's light, the Holy Spirit, is because when we start doing that more and more, it activates God's light within us. And then everything that is inside of us that no longer serves us begins to be released. One of the ways it's released is how your body releases, right? Your body will lose weight because of what you've been carrying that's not yours. When God's light starts to move through you, so many things start changing. Physical appearance starts to change. Your physical body starts to change. Your mind starts to change. Your behaviors start to change. Slowly but surely, you start becoming this more of this godlike type of human. But what's so challenging or what's so difficult, um, hold on, I'm gonna try to get back and see. Okay. Um, Is how do we bring that light in, right? I didn't even call God's light in when I was going through that. I didn't even think about it. But I've experienced God's light before like that coming into my body, and I've seen it clear out instantaneously these types of energies in the body. In my mind, in my physical state, it's life-changing. It's really life-changing. But it takes a real humble human to recognize that if we are all aspects of God. Let's just go so far as to say that we are God, which I don't believe that we are actually God. I think we're aspects of God. We're fractals of God. Why are we being the way we are? Like, why wouldn't God be alive in us, creating different ways for us to be? If God is a light and that light is inside of me, then why have I not been more godlike throughout my life? And if you say trauma, I would argue that God's light is way more powerful than trauma, which means that if trauma is in my body and I was connected to that light of God, that light of God was turned on, it would have gently moved that trauma through. This whole planet would be very, very different if the light of our God essence was actually on in our body. Makes sense to me. This is one of Jesus's biggest teachings is recognizing that God is inside of you, but you have to go to God. You have to go to God and bring God back down in. That's why he called himself the way, the truth, and the light. He's not the only way. You can do it on your own, but there has to be a refocusing back up to the creator, the source of light, bringing it back down into physical form and turning on, letting God's light turn on the light of God inside of you. That's why the Holy Spirit is so profoundly powerful when it actually integrates and embodies into the physical form. We are not being godlike on this planet right now because we have been infiltrated for thousands of years by these 12 families that have taken over and are running this entire planet like a chess game. And so they have done an excellent job in keeping us disconnected from the light of God and the light of God within us completely dormant. And so the more we can look out, they don't care. Keep looking out. The more we can argue with other people, they don't care. Keep arguing with other people. The more you want to say, no, this is the right truth. No, this is the right truth. Go ahead. They don't care. As long as you're not going here and connecting back into creator and then activating God within you, they don't care. Do whatever you want. Just don't do that. So we're going to try to convince you of all these other things. They're going to you know, dangle all the different carrots around how great the physical world is, all the different pleasures you can have, all those things. If it's not God, it's not the path for humanity. Two paths, the God path and the other path. Okay, I'm going to read the letter Jesus wrote to you guys. It's short. I'm actually going to be doing a new YouTube series. Not YouTube series. It's not really a series. It'll be it's not going to be live, but it's going to be so Jesus has continued to ask me to speak more and more, for him to be able to speak more and more. And so I'm going to start doing videos called the Jesus Chronicles on YouTube. And hopefully I'll start them soon. He's been inviting me to do this more and more. And it will be more about him and what he would like humanity to know right now. All right. So here's what he said to all of you, and then we will go on our way. Thank you for allowing me to share. Hold on a second. God, I wish I wrote better. Continued. I've continued to invite Lorie into a deeper dialogue with you and I believe she will begin to allow this for us. Although I'm not sitting with you physically, I am energetically next to you. I'll keep this short for now. I came onto this planet in my one incarnation to free humanity from their suffering. This is accomplished in 3 ways. 1, now he says man meaning human. He doesn't say man like a man, like the biology. He refers to man as human. Number 1, remind man who they are. Divine spark of God inside a physical vessel. 2, show man the illusion. Suffering is disguised as pleasure, masking a desire for God. 3, walking man into freedom, disconnecting from the pleasures of the world that tempt man in the illusion, and connect man into God, the truth without illusion. He says, clarity over confusion. You are currently in a spiritual battle that requires humility, compassion, heart, kindness, and a willingness to let go of the world you've been told to control and hand it over to God. Freedom is found in no longer believing the physical world provides freedom. God provides freedom. And he wrote, remind, show, walk. Remind, show, walk. You know, I wish that more of us could sit with Jesus and talk with him and feel him. I'm so grateful and honored to be able to do it, um, and to continue to use my platform to do it. Um, and in the and in the intention of getting people to truly understand why Jesus is here on the planet right now, um, and what he wants us to remember, and breaking out of the dogmatic program and mind control of who he is and how we're supposed to think about him, or how we're supposed to follow him, or how we're supposed to do anything with him. Um, he's simply a man that incarnated 2,000 years ago to make an impact on a planet for thousands of years to come. When you die, he will still be here impacting humanity. That's how big his role is. If you reincarnate again, he'll still be here. His commitment to humanity's freedom from suffering um, is God. And it's miraculous. It's really miraculous. Very, very miraculous. All right. That's it, you guys. I will see you next time. What can I leave you with? Try to be in more silence today, this week. Pay attention to all the things that are trying to pull you from God. What is God to you? What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? Is God with you right now? Does God breathe through you? Does God walk with you? How often do you recognize God in others? How loud is the world out there? And is it trying to convince you of 17,654 things that you need to buy in order to feel better about yourself? And what happens if you just sit with God? Can you feel better just by sitting with God? Do we need every little thing that we've been buying and purchasing and doing? We're all searching at the end of the day for God. That's what's so crazy about this whole thing. Everybody that's trying to make millions of dollars, they're truly just searching for God. Everyone that's trying to find their partner, everyone that's trying, like everything that we're trying to do out there, at the end of the day, at the core of what we're trying to do is find God right here. And so we're trying to fix this hole by all these other things. And once you come back and feel this, nothing else matters. And then everything else is given to you. You know, you're taken care of. It's like life becomes easy and effortless because you found your way back home to God. That's the evolutionary shift in human consciousness. And that takes a lot of courage to come back home to God first before anything else. And trusting that if you can come back home to God first, Everything that you're searching for and that you're wanting out there will be effortlessly and quite easily offered to you, provided for you. That's how God works. You see, we work in manifestation. I'm going to manifest this, and then I'm going to manifest this, and then I'm going to manifest this. God works in miracles. And the miracles are 10,000 times bigger and better than any manifestation that you could do. That's why in the human evolution, we have to let go of being in control and in manifestation, and we hand everything to God, and God begins to live through us as us and creates miracles, which is simply just manifestations in a now moment that we didn't realize we were asking for. That's the advanced human. The advanced human is not in control. The advanced human has allowed God to live through them, and God creates. That's the advanced human. And so pay attention to what's going on out there. Don't fall for it. I love you guys. See you next time.